DTI Region 7's initiative and through collaborative efforts from all of us, we can all practice and implement smart contact tracing. Good afternoon to everyone. Thank you so much for staying with us this afternoon. And at this point, we're very happy to be having the open forum where we will be answering the questions that you have typed in the comment section below. Salamat po sa mga tanong nyo. And of course, this afternoon, our panel discussion will be moderated by Negros Oriental Chamber of Commerce and Industry Director, Mr. Alex Pal. Mr. Alex Pal, take it away.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm aware that we are running short of time, so I hope that we will have a brief open forum. Just today, as we were holding this session, the Philippines recorded 4,040 new COVID cases, and the total number of cases in the Philippines has reached 252,964. And of that number, 1/4 are active cases. And so that is what makes this topic of contact tracing very important and very urgent. And that is why this afternoon I am joined by a panel of experts who will be talking about contact tracing for COVID-19. And we have the country's contact tracing czar, who is no less than Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong. And we have a top microbiologist, Dr. Nina Gloriani, who chairs the panel of experts on COVID-19 clinical trials. And we have Assistant Secretary Atty of the Department of Trade, Director Rik Amores of the Department of Information and Communication Technology, and the Regional Governor for the Visayas of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Edward Du. We hope later on that Attorney Amor Venenoso of the National Privacy Commission could join us. Anyway, we have some questions that have come in through the internet for Mayor Magalong. And this one is from Robert Sanglay in Dumaguete City. How much of the city's budget is invested for the command center and its operations?
Okay, thank you very much, Alex. Good afternoon po, Governor Ed, and to our DTI heads of Region 7. The cost of our command center for the structure itself is around 600,000. That's only for the renovation. And then for the equipment, it costs us about around 700, so that's 1.2 million. And that excludes the software. The good news is the software that we're using, they are not different analytical tools. We're going to give it to the different local government units for free. Especially yung software na link analysis, it's free. And the GIS platform is basically uses an open source GIS component. The maps, it's an open source. We're using Quantum GIS. That includes the platform. And one thing about it is it's being used by our Philippine National Police in crime mapping. Digital contact tracing at the same time is also free. We're using the nationwide acknowledged contact tracing system, which is Stay Safe. But if you have your own contact tracing applications and at the same time you have your own QR code system, please do not abandon it. We encourage you to use it. What we're going to do is we're going to ask Stay Safe to share with you the API para makapag-usap po yan. Dalawa na yan for data integration. Another is we're also sharing with you our data collection tool. And again, the storage and the actual database is free. So these are the things that we can offer to the different LGUs while we continue to increase their contact tracing or enhance their contact tracing capability.
Maraming salamat po, Mayor. Here's another question for you, Mayor, from Maria Teresa Cederiosa. How were you able to get the buy-in of your constituents on disclosing or answering questions honestly, or even simply admitting that they are COVID positive?
Okay. First of all, let me just discuss with you the cognitive interviewing skills training. Cognitive interviewing is one of the skill training that we imparted to all CIDG investigators when I was still the head of CIDG. It was a program that was jointly conducted with the Australian Federal Police, and it's a 14 or a 2-week course that's offered to all CIDG personnel. Unfortunately, it was only conducted during my stint as CIDG, and we conducted about 4 trainings total for the entire Philippine National Police. And one thing about cognitive interviewing is it helps an investigator develop the skill to be able to establish rapport, to be able to establish gain the trust and confidence of an interviewee, and at the same time help an interviewee in the area of memory recall. Now, looking at contact tracing is very similar to investigation of a criminal offense. And to be more specific about it, it's just like similar to investigating a serial criminal offense with multiple victims. Same with infection of COVID-19. So that's the investigative perspective. So we need someone with that investigative skill to be able to gather this critical information as soon as possible. I would like to emphasize that speed is the key. Every second matters. It's not every minute or every hour or every day matters. There's a sense of urgency that should be, that should be adopted by all interviewers and at the same time by all contact tracers. So what we did was to make sure that the interviewers have this skill. What we did was to conduct a trainers training at the regional level, and we asked the trainers, the newly trained trainers, to please cascade it immediately to their municipalities and to their different provinces and cities. So isa yan sa mga tinignan namin, ano. And imagine the physical mindset or the mental mindset, the mindset of a positive patient who just received information. He's conflicted, they're conflicted, they're confused, they're irrational, their anxiety level is high, and here comes someone asking them questions about who are their contacts, where they came from, what are the places that they have visited. Do you think they will be able to immediately respond to those questions? No way. No way. No way. They can hear you, but they're not actually listening. Why? Because they're thinking about their survival. They're thinking about their family. They're thinking about their kids. Dami nilang iniisip. So it requires someone with that investigative skill, that cognitive interviewing skill, to be able to establish rapport, gain the trust and confidence, as I've said, help in memory recall. Now, second, with regards to data privacy, especially in revealing their identity in public, what I usually do is talk to the patient, explain to them a content of a 2-page affidavit or affidavit of consent. And two major statements in that consent affidavit is, I want to save more lives and I want to keep my community safe. Once they agree to sign that affidavit, or to agree to divulge their identity, immediately we help them craft their post in their own social media. Initially, what we did during the first let's say dozen patients was that we were doing the post and then posting it in our own official social media. Pero iba pala yung personal na social media account ng positive patient. Mas malalim yung content, and at the same time, you can feel the sympathy and empathy of the netizens. Contrary to our perception that they will be bullied or they will be bashed, hindi ganun nangyayari. Out of 50, merong magbabash na isa. And then immediately, pag may nagbash na isa, talagang susuportahan o de-defend ng mga ibang mga netizens. So that encourages people to divulge their identity. But ang nakikita ko there are certain types of groups that it's so difficult for us to to convince them to divulge. One is doctors. Hirap na hirap kami i-divulge yung identity ng doctors. Bakit? Ang sabi nila sa akin, sir, pag gumaling kami, baka mawalan kami ng kliyente, mawalan kami ng mga pasyente. Second are lawyers. Hirap na hirap na kami kumbinsin sila. Sayang kumbinsin sila. Because again, isa sa kinakatakutan uli nila, baka mawalan kami ng pasyente. And third are people who have skeletons in their closet. Yung mga nakikita namin na nahihirapan kami. And fourth, yung mga nagtatrabaho sa mall. They don't want to divulge the identity of their companies or yung store nila. So yun yung mga circumstances na nagkakaroon kami ng difficulties in convincing them to divulge their identities. Thank you po. Thank you.
Yeah, that word that you mentioned, Mayor, empathy. I think that is what is the key to getting people to cooperate.
Thank you po. Thank you.
May ibang question this time for Dr. Gloriani. This one is from Dr. Benjamin Abel of the Makati Medical Center. Dr. Gloriani, how close is the world to a viable vaccine?
Okay. All right. Right now, meron pong WHO landscape that tracks how many vaccine candidates are in the phase 3. Yung phase 3 po, ito po yung last phase. Actually, may isa pang phase, pero before licensure for commercialization, ito po yung efficacy, meaning itetest na yung kung makaka-protect ba talaga to, pero kasama pa rin po yung safety and yung kung mag-immune response. Okay, sa 2 days ago, nasa 9 po yun, yung mga bakuna na yon. The Philippines will be involved in the Solidarity Vaccine Trial, yung WHO Solidarity Trial, but we do not know yet kung alin do sa mga vaccines na yun po ang ating gagamitin for our clinical trial. So we are hoping that this one will be, at least for the WHO Solidarity Trial, nagawa na po lahat ng preparation so that we will be ready hopefully by end of October. Yung umpisa po nung clinical trial lang po, hindi pa po yung bakuna. Ho? So it will take 3 to 6 months at least para makita yung resulta do sa mga tao mapagbibigyan. So after that, kung maayos po ang lahat, safe, siyempre number 1 po ang safety, and then yun nga, it can protect at mataas yung mga antibody responses nila, pwede na po siyang bigyan ng emergency use authorization. So it is our FDA that grants that. So after po masusing pag-review do sa mga data na ipapadala sa kanila. Yun po. So hopefully first quarter ng kung magiging maayos po ang lahat, yun ang optimistic po na day.
Salamat po for that very good news, Doctor. Meron ding isa pang tanong. This one is from Sara Del Mar. If you had spoken briefly with a person who turns out to be COVID positive, what are the chances that you will get infected?
Okay, ano po yung brief? A few minutes at saka nakasuot po ba kayo pareho ng face mask o face shield? Kasi po importante yon. Kung nakipag-usap kayo na wala kayong protection, malaki po ang tsansa kasi nakita niyo yung picture kanina, no? Yung pag malapit sila, yung droplets ay andyan sila. Sobrang lapit po nun. Pero kung naka-face mask na at naka-face shield pa, yung face mask, iba-iba pong filters meron yon. So yung usual lang na yung binibili natin na tela, medyo mababa ang nun, but that will already protect. Meron po mga surgical masks that can protect up to 90%, 95% of the time, and 95 is 95%. Pero pag suot po niya yung kanyang face shield, halos magda 99, 100% na po yun. Although of course, we still consider pag biglang umubo, yung may malakas na force kasi ang pag-umupo, no, or nag-sneeze, yung tabi, pwede pong labasan din ng mga particles. So may ganun po, pero malaki na po ang ibababa kung merong protection. Yun po.
Maraming salamat po. For the Department of Trade and Industry Assistant Secretary, Director Caberte, there's a question from Robert Sanglay here in Dumaguete. Yung po bang DTI, Region 7, will it be endorsing or recommending an app or do you have for an app for contact tracing?
I'm representing as a
Oh, yes.
caster.
Okay, the Assistant Director Nanette.
So we are not recommending. Oh, okay, so we are not recommending any one app. This is just to. This webinar is to raise awareness, and appreciation of contact tracing and the digital tools that are available out there. In our next event on September 25, we're gonna have a pitch party. So meaning like we have 10 or 11 startups who's gonna pitch, like present their apps. So that's it. We're not recommending anything. We're just like raising awareness, connecting startups with apps to the business sector. It's up to the business sector to adapt whatever app they want. Or in the third session, we're gonna have a DIY workshop teaching people how to set up their own QR code enabled system. So we're gonna also teach them how to set up their own system. So it's really up to the business sector, whoever, to adapt what's appropriate for them. We're just presenting options.
Okay. Thank you so much, Assistant Director Nanette Arbon. We have two questions for the National Privacy Commission, and I hope Attorney Venenoso is back to join us. One question is from Jose Baya. Does the NPC have a policy declaration on the use of apps in data collection?
Hi, sir. We only have guidelines, but there are no clear-cut rules on um, these COVID response apps. So it would always depend on the structure and the design and the purpose of the processing of the apps. So also there are no clear-cut guidelines for that. Just so but it just needs to conform with the requirements of transparency, proportionality, and legitimate purpose. Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Attorney. There's a second question, and this one is from Mr. Bimbo Miraflor, who is the Public Information Officer of Negros Oriental. He says, if in the process of contact tracing, the mention of a particular establishment, a barangay, or a subdivision is crucial in reporting for the purposes of public information, does this go against the privacy law? Attorney, did you hear the question? Attorney
I'm sorry,
Venenoso.
sir. Can you repeat the question? Sorry for my intermittent data.
Okay. This question is from Bimbo Miraflor, who is the Public Information Officer of Negros Oriental. If in the process of contact tracing, the name of a particular establishment or a barangay or a subdivision is crucial in reporting for public information, would that go against the privacy law?
If if the in the process of contact tracing, the establishment is mentioned.
Yes.
Is that correct, sir?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
No, sir. Yeah. Okay. The Data Privacy Act only protects personal information of individuals. So, um, only human beings are protected by the Data Privacy Act. So, establishments, information of establishments, or corporations, other juridical persons, or entities are not covered by the Data Privacy Act. Only the rights of persons, um, individuals, are protected by the Data Privacy Act. So,
Oh, thank you.
if the name of the establishment is mentioned in the process of contact tracing, then there is no violation of the Data Privacy Act.
Thank you so much. I have a question for Director Rik Amores of the Department of Information Communication Technology. Internet connectivity is very important in our efforts at contact tracing. So, what is the status of our internet connectivity here in Region 7?
There are still a lot of places that we need to improve connectivity, especially in the more rural areas. No? And that's why the DICT right now has actually various initiatives to address this. For example, the establishment of free Wi-Fi zones in different localities, and of course, encouraging our telco players, no, to improve their capacities through more infra to be built. So we now have initiatives such as the Common Tower Policy to encourage the buildup of infrastructure, especially in underserved or unserved areas. So there are many initiatives right now to improve so we should be seeing the improvements in the coming weeks or months to come.
Okay, that is so reassuring. We really hope that we will have improved internet services in the very, very near future. I have reserved this last question for Governor Edward Du of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry. The business sector is struggling to stay afloat, at least for this year. So, what measures are you proposing to allow the business sector to tide over to 2021?
Yes, thank you, Lex, for that question. No? Right now, the biggest hurdle of the business sector is how to build up or restore consumer confidence. Because even if you reopen your store, if the general public are still afraid to, you know, to go to your store, then it's useless to reopen your business when there are no customers. And precisely the contact tracing initiative is just one of the ways to restore foot traffic and hopefully restore consumer confidence.
Oh, thank you so much. I actually did not expect that we would have this many questions, especially because it's so late in the afternoon. But we had all these questions, and I did not even have a chance to ask my own questions, which I had prepared. And I also realized that we are running short of time. So I will just have to close this open forum at this point because we still have one to two more items in this program. So thank you so much for joining me in this open forum. So we go back to Bea.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Alex Pal, and of course, our dear panelists for being with us this afternoon and for answering the questions that our viewers and those who are attending our webinar have asked. So, guys, katong mga yung mga nanood po ng webinar namin, sana naman po nasagot namin ang mga tanong nyo. Ayun. So, guys, we are nearing the end of this very informative and insightful session. Again, thank you so much to DTI for this very comprehensive, ready to recover program. So before we get to the last part of the agenda, stay tuned because we will be showing you this video. Watch this.